So, the Ex-Zero Festival is here. All extra deck monsters are banned, and you can only use main deck monsters. What are the best decks for it? Well, it won't surprise anyone to know that Flowunder is probably the best deck to play in it. This deck does not need the extra deck at all, and if you can't run the Pot of Extravagance and stuff to draw, well, you can just sub in a couple of different cards instead. So, deck profile time. 3 Florunderies in Rabina, 3 Florunderies in Elgin, 2 Florunderies in Street, 1 Florunderies in Token, and I know I've covered this before in my Florunderies deck profile, so I'm just going to go ahead and go through some of the general combos with it. So this guy, whenever you summon it, if it would leave the field, it's banished instead. When you summon it, you can't special summon the turn you activate either effect, which is fine. And if it's normal summoned, you can add a level 4 lower winged beast monster from your deck to your hand. Then after the effect resolves, normal summon 1 winged beast monster. If a winged beast monster is normal summoned while this card is banished, you can add it to your hand. And all the little birds have that effect. If a winged beast monster is summoned while they're banished, add it to your hand. This guy is another searcher, except he does level 7 or higher winged beast, while Florundery Rabina does level 4 or lower. And then this guy will let you banish a card from either graveyard, and then you can do another normal summon. Pretty much all of them have the additional normal summon effect after you resolve their first effect. So this one is search and the normal summon, this one's search and the normal summon, this one's banish a card from the graveyard and the normal summon, and this one is add one of your banished Flunderies cards back to your hand in the normal summon. And then next we have 2 Maxi, because there's a lot of adventure running around in the event right now. 3 Ash Blossom and Joyous Springs, because we have the space and stopping our opponent from searching is good. 1 Barrier Statue of the Storm, because this can stop things like adventure dead in its tracks, because both players can only summon wind monsters. 2 Dimension Shifter, which at this point I could take it or leave it, because it's not super useful in the event. And ranked it is, but in the event, it's up to you if you want to run it or if you want to replace it with something else, like a second Florunderies and Impen, or a second Flunderies and the Unexplored Winds. And then we have 1 Mist Valley Apex Avian. You really only need 1. Once per chain, when a card or effect is activated, quick effect, you can target a Mist Valley card you control, return to the hand, and if you do, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy it. And then we have, of course, 1 Rise of the Mega Monarch. This card is clutch in the regular variant that I'm running in ranked right now. This card is still just as clutch in the expedition, the event. But you can tribute summon it by tributing 1 tribute summon monster. So that can be this guy, or this guy, or even this guy. You could tribute it by tributing Dimension Shifter if you really wanted to. If it's tribute summoned, you can target a card on the field and 1 card in either graveyard. And if it was tribute summoned by tributing a wind monster, you can target an additional card on the field and place the first target or targets on the top of the deck in any order. And after that, return the additional target, if any, to the hand. So most of your stuff is wind, so it procs this. That guy's water, that guy's wind, that guy's water, that guy's wind. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4 wind targets for normal summons. And then you have the 2 big guys, which are also wind, and then the 2 big Flunders, which are also wind. And you can just single tribute 1 of them for him. But Rise is a good card. And next we got Flunderies and Snell. You won't use this too much, but when you do use it, man, does it really hit hard and does it really hit well. Once per turn, while you control this tribute summon card, you can conduct up to 3 normal summons or set this turn, not just 1. When this tribute summon card is in a monster zone, if your monster attacks a defense position monster, inflict piercing battle damage to your opponent. And then once per opponent's turn, you can banish 1 card from your hand, change all special summon monsters your opponent controls to face down defense position, and that is a quick effect. So that effect has actually been very useful. And next we have Floowandereeze and Impen. So its first effect is if it's tribute summoned, add a Floowandereeze spell or trap from your deck to your hand, and immediately after it resolves, you can normal summon one monster. When this tribute summon card is in the monster zone, your opponent cannot activate the effects of special summoned monsters they control in attack position. Once per battle, during damage calculation, if this card battles an opponent's monster, you can banish a card from your hand. That opponent's monster's current attack defense become halved until the end of the turn. So if you banish one of the little birds and summon a winged beast monster, you're going to get it back to your hand anyway. And then next we have Terraforming. The field spell is very good, and we want to see it as much as possible. And without the other pot cards like Pot of Extravagance, Terraforming is one of the easiest ways to get it to your hand instead of just drawing into it. Next we have 3 Pot of Duality, since we don't really special summon at all in this deck. Pot of Duality is very useful. It's you excavate the top 3 cards of your deck, add one to your hand, and then shuffle the rest back into your deck. You can only activate 1 Pot of Duality per turn, and you cannot special summon during the turn you activate this card. Next we have the 2 Lightning Storm in case we go second, or in case we get blown out and we want to point the finger at the opponent and go, haha, and then blow them out with Lightning Storm. Next we have 3 Floowandereeze and the Magnificent Map. So this one's really good because during your main phase, you can reveal level 1 Floowandereeze monster in your hand, banish a Floowandereeze card with a different name from your deck, then normal summon the revealed monster. And that's just the first effect. The second effect is if your opponent normal summons a monster immediately after this effect resolves, you can normal summon 1 Floowandereeze monster. You can only use each effect of Floowandereeze in the Magnificent Map once per turn. So, if I don't get Rabina, which is the starter you pretty much always want to see, but I do open another Little Flunder and the Magnificent Map, you can just activate the map, use the map effect to reveal this guy or this guy or this guy, banish Rabina, summon the Floowandereeze card that you revealed, and then use Rabina's effect to add it back to your hand, and then resolve the other Floowandereeze effect if you can resolve it. And the best part about that is Rabina will always be chained to if you choose it to be chained to, so they always have to respond to that going back to your hand. And that's one of the things I like about this deck is you can kind of control what your opponent responds to. Next we have Floowandereeze and the Unexplored Winds. And so you can conduct tribute summons that require 2 tributes by sending 1 monster you control and 1 card your opponent controls. It can be any card. It can be something in the back row, it can be something in the field spell zone, it can be just any card. Instead of tributing, you get to send 1 card that your opponent controls. During your main phase, you can reveal up to 2 Winged Beast monsters in your hand, place them on the bottom of the deck in any order, then draw the same amount of cards. You can only use this effect of Floowandereeze and Unexplored Winds once per turn. This card is really good just for consistency's sake, and also really good because being able to tribute one of our opponent's back row is kind of a busted effect. Then we have 1 Book of Moon. I'm running it just because you can book something on your opponent's board so they don't get the effect. Sometimes when they have the Floowandereeze and Rabina, I can book it and then they have something face down. And that's actually saved me a couple of games. I've also Book of Moon stuff that has destruction or target effects before they can resolve them. So Book's been decent. Next we have 2 Called by the Grave, because Called by is a good card and you should be running 2. Next we have 1 Crossout Designator. This card has also been MVP. You declare a card name, banish the declared card from your main deck, and if you do, you negate its effects as well as the activated effects on the field of cards with the same original name until the end of this turn. You can only activate 1 Crossout Designator per turn. So say your opponent is running Flunder as well, and they're trying to do the trap card on you, the Floowandereeze and the Dreaming Town. You can go right ahead and activate your Crossout Designator, banish yours, and then banish yours, and then theirs is negated, and you can add yours back to use for next turn with the Floowandereeze and 2 Cannon. And then we have 3 Infinite Imperm because we have the space for it, and negating effects is really good. The Mirror Match, if you can Imperm the Rabina, that can pretty much buy you a turn most of the time, because if they play their starter and they don't have anything else and you Imperm it, then you're in pretty good standing. Next we have the One Flunderies and the Dreaming Town. So this card's great because during the main phase, after this card resolves, normal summon one level 4 or lower winged beast monster, and you can do this during your opponent's turn, which is great. And if you tribute summon a level 7 or higher monster while this card's in the graveyard, you can banish it, and you can change all monsters your opponent controls to face down defense position. You can only use this effect to Flunderies and the Dreaming Town once per turn. And once again, you can recycle this card a lot with Flunderies and token. And then we have one Solemn Judgment because Judgment's just coming in clutch. But this has been a really fun event so far. I'm about like halfway through it. I think that Flunderies is probably the best deck for it. I do see some people running Adventure, and with the Adventure deck, you can even like run Stun with like there can only be one as back row, and just fill out a lot of the empty spots with like stun cards, lava golems, and just dunk on your opponent by negating stuff with Griffin and beating them over the head with the token. But anyway, here's a couple replays real quick of the expedition. Oh, another good choice for this, in addition to Flunder and Adventure, is Eldritch. Eldritch pretty much doesn't need extra deck either and can just do things. But I think Flunder is by far the best. So we're just setting up. We're getting our cards back to our hand, see how we go 3, 2, and then we deliberately make that 1, so they have to respond to 3 or 2 first. They can't Ash the Penguin. Pretty good. So banish now. Use effect to add the banish now back to the hand, then get the tribute to do Flunderies and Snow Owls now, and then add cards back to the hand again because it's nuts like that. And now we have something that can negate special summon monster effects in attack position, and something that can let us summon 3 times. Unfortunately, they are going to try to destroy my stuff. It doesn't work, and we just keep doing fun things. Because at that point, we were going to summon the barrier statue and just dunk on whatever they were playing. What was this person playing anyway? Oh, look, they were playing Phantasm Spiral. That's also potentially a good deck for this. And then we have another quick replay that I'm going to show you guys. Man, I'm really saying a lot in this deck profile. But here we are. We're going to be playing against Mr. Monsus here. And it's Lord of Heavenly Prison, which I don't think is the best deck for this because depending on that one card, just seems kind of iffy. Even more so since a lot of the other decks in this that are really popular, like Adventure Stun, has an out to it. They are, however, going to discard one of the Lord of Heavenly Prisons. Then they're going to do another one. I don't chain Maxi here because I'm bad. And at this point, I just say set, set, set. My opponent's going to go and they scoop. I don't know why they scooped. But if they didn't scoop, we were still going to have it because we had the card to summon and the card to summon during our opponent's turn and the card to add a level 7 or higher wind. So we would have been able to beat them by just going into Ryza and bouncing the Lord of Heavenly Prison back to the deck. But yeah, this has been a pretty fun event so far, and I hope you guys are having fun and enjoying it. I hope you guys like this deck profile. I know it's boring since I basically just covered this for if you wanted to play the deck for ranked, but the deck is just a little bit different because you can't run Extra or anything else that would banish from Extra. So I wanted to cover it and explain some of the combos a little bit more. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.